Hello and welcome to Cupcakes. In this video I'm going to show you how I created this football using a Terry's chocolate orange. The first thing I did was prep the chocolate orange, and I did this by popping some chocolate in a microwave, melting it down and popping it into a piping bag. And any chocolate orange which had loose segments, I kept it in the foil, snipped the tip off that piping bag and just squirted some melted chocolate all the way through and left that to set. I used the prepared chocolate orange, icing sugar, water and a paintbrush, a 4-inch cake card, some white, blue, yellow and black fondant. I've also some wafer paper cupcake toppers with a football team logo printed on them, scissors, sharp knife, a rolling pin. I've also got a hexagon and pentagon cutter. If you don't have these, you can make your own shape using a bit of greaseproof paper. The first thing I did was prepare the team logo, and I did that by rolling out some of the white fondant, cutting that rice paper using my scissors and cutting all the way around the logo. Then using the smallest amount of water, I just made that white fondant tacky, and you don't want to use too much because it will dissolve your logo. And after popping that in place, I just took my sharp knife and cut all the way around it. Then neatening off the edges with my fingers, I placed it face down onto the counter just while I worked on the chocolate orange. And I placed mine face down just because rice paper can tend to curl up. Next, taking some of that white fondant again and rolling it out, popping a little bit of water on the back. I popped that over the top of the chocolate orange and just using my fingers, working that fondant all the way down and trying to tuck it under best I could. And once it had all gathered at the bottom, I took that sharp knife and removed all the excess. And then using my finger and my thumbs just to try and smooth it best I could. But I'm not too worried because I do plan on putting a scarf round the bottom. At this point I did realise I had a little bit of chocolate in my white fondant, but I'm just going to use that as the front so I know where I'm going to pop the logo badge. Then taking my smallest cutter, I made an indentation on the top, which I did research and found out that would have to be black. And then the bigger shape, I made an indentation all the way around using the top one as a guide. If you have drawn your shape and done it in greaseproof paper, you can just use the back of a sharp knife to make these marks in the white fondant. Then with the smallest shape, I went back in again and did another row of these, which did join them up to the bottom. It doesn't fit perfectly, but I'm not too worried because I will be putting a scarf around the bottom. Next, rolling out that black fondant, I cut out a pentagon shape and attached that to the top of the ball using a little bit of water and just pushing that into the indentation I'd already created. And I used a sharp knife to neaten my edges. You can also use a dressing tool. Next, I was just working out where I was popping some more pentagons, and I decided I didn't want one behind my team logo. I wanted that to stand out without having any black behind it. So then cutting out some more pentagons and attaching them with a little bit of water, just popping them in place, again neatening them off with a dressing tool or sharp knife and popping them into place with my thumb or fingers. I just worked my way all the way around the bottom of that football. And because I do live in England, we do call it a football, but I know a lot of countries call it a soccer ball. Next, to make the scarf, I took some more of the white fondant, rolled it out into a thick strip and rolled it to thin it out with my rolling pin. And once I was happy that that length would fit all the way around the football, I neatened it off using that sharp knife to create straight edges. Trimmed it to size using the sharp knife, and then using the back of the sharp knife, very gently, I just made some indentations for the end of the scarf. Next, taking that blue and yellow fondant, I rolled it into some thin strips, and I've only used the blue and the yellow to match up to my team colours, so whatever colours are in your team's logo are what colour fondant you'd really want to roll. And as you can see, I cut them into some more little thin strips, and using a little bit of water, I paired them up throughout the scarf, just trying to evenly position them. Just gently pushing them into place with my fingers and using the back of that sharp knife to neaten them up. And once I was happy with how many I had, I just took that sharp knife again, removed any excess fondant which were hanging over from both sides, flipped the scarf, put a little bit of water on the back and wrapped that around the ball and popped it into a position I was happy with. And finally, the only thing left to do is pop that logo into place, and I did this by putting a little bit of water on the back, holding it for a few seconds until the fondant behind it had got tacky. And there you have it, our edible chocolate orange football or soccer ball with team logo and matching scarf. Thank you very much for watching.